Billy,
Yeah,
it looks like we're in Mariposa.
Yeah.
We might as well bring in Bob Borchard then. Bob, how are you, bud? Nice to see you.
Much better now that I'm back.
Nice to see you.
How are you doing?
We miss you when you don't come here. You got to come around more often.
I will do that.
And I see that you brought John Muir with you today.
Well, this is John Muir, the John Muir, but he's also, by his wife and kids call him Frank Helling.
Frank, how are you?
I am doing well.
Thanks for coming on the buzz.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been John Muir?
Oh, 34 years.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're looking good.
Yeah. Not bad for 177.
Yeah.
You know, I think we need to put this whole show in context.
Okay.
And I have something for you.
You brought me a hat? I've never had a cowboy hat before. Yeehaw!
Yeah! That's what it's all about.
All right, it feels good.
Now we can get on.
Now I'm starting to understand these hats already. You put it on, you just feel like a badass. Right.
Well, it's not about feeling it. You are.
Thank you very much, Bob, and thank you for the hat. It's a nice one.
Well, don't wear it in the shower, though. It's a felt hat.
Okay.
I was going to get you a waterproof one.
No, okay, cowboy stuff. Yeah, I got to learn as I go, and that's why I need you here for.
I'll be sending you instructions. Anyway, we have something really special going on this weekend up in Coulterville. Do you know what Coulterville is?
Coulterville, 26 miles out of Mariposa on a windy road.
Ah, yes, but it is an amazing road. It goes through the heart of Mother Lode country. That's the Merced River Canyon, wild and scenic river.
Does the Merced River wind like that road does right along it?
Yes.
Coulterville is intriguing to me because it's off the beaten path.
It is,
and it's a cowboy town still to this day.
It is, but it's this weekend. It's going to be John Muir's town.
Oh man, I need a getaway.
And that's why I asked John to be with me today. And John John Muir is a really important person in the history, the culture of our community up in Mariposa,
the whole region,
Coulterville, Yosemite. And there's some really significant reasons for that. And I thought maybe John could explain a little bit about his background.
Can I ask John Muir a couple questions?
You can ask.
I've never interviewed John Muir before, so hey, John, where were you born?
I was born in Dunbar, Scotland, you know. There on the shore of the North Sea. And my mother remembers the event well, you know.
I bet she does. What year did you come to the United States?
I arrived in 1849. You know what was going on here in California, you know. But we settled in the wilderness of Wisconsin. My father wanted land. He wanted to have his own farm. And there you could get land really cheap, you know.
Where?
In Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Right outside of Portage, near the community of Kingston.
And what kind of farmer was your father?
Well, in all due respect, for he was my father, he was a rather lazy farmer, you know, and put his children doing all the hard work. 17 hours a day I labored on that farm, doing the work of 3 grown men. My father sat in the parlor reading his Bible. Father did read his Bible often, you know. Said it was the only book worth reading before it did any other book in our house.
And at what point did you come to California?
I came right after, I had an accident. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do with my life. I liked nature, but I realized I could not make a living, you know, looking at trees and flowers and things like that. So I was working in a factory in Indianapolis, and there I had an accident. I was blinded for 1 month, and I decided at that time that if I ever got my sight back, I'd give up the inventions of man working with machines and devote the rest of my life to nature. That, the inventions of God. Set out on a 1,000-mile walk from Kentucky to the Gulf of Mexico by the wildest, leafiest, most leech-trodden path I could find, botanizing all along the way. Had plans to go to South America and be a Humboldt, But when I reached Cedar Keys, I ended up with malaria. Going to South America at the time would not be a good idea if you had malaria, lad. So I came to California instead. And on March 28, 1868, I stepped off the ship Nebraska into the city of San Francisco. A man asked, "Where are you going?" "Anywhere that's wild," I replied. So he sent me to Berkeley. From there,
still that way.
It's still that way, From there, I sauntered down the Coast Range. And one should always saunter and never hike. Hike is such a vile word. Too much like work. Have you ever thought that hike and work are both four-letter words? From there, I sauntered down the Coast Range. And from the top of Pacheco Pass, my eyes went on the most glorious sight. Beneath a lake of pure sunshine, 300 miles long, 50 miles wide, the gold of the flowers, poppies, and great yellow composite filling the great Central Valley of California. Beyond, the blue of the lupins covered the foothills, and then came the green of the forest, and the colors blended together like a rainbow. And there, rising above timberline, not just bathed in light, but seemingly composed of it, rose the grand and the glorious Sierra Nevada. But as the bread supply was getting low, I found employment in 20 Hill Hollow, a fairy land of hills near Snelling, working as a sheep herder for a fellow by the name of, they called him Smoky Jack. And all I had to do was herding sheep, hooved locusts they were. All I had to do was let them out of the pen in the morning, and they would take care of themselves. It gave me time to botanize. And in the evening, I would open the gate, and they would all come back in. But when that finished, in the summertime, a fellow by the name of Patrick Delaney asked me to take his herd of 2,000 sheep up to summer pasture at the headwaters of the Merced and Tuolumne rivers. I said, "Mr. Delaney, I do not know if I'm ready to take a herd of 2,000 sheep into the mountains." He said, "I have a shepherd, John. He's lazy. I do not trust him. You watch the shepherd. Let him watch the sheep." And so off we set, behind this herd of hooved locusts, up into the Tuolumne Meadows region. Billy the shepherd was his name, Billy was a sort, he never bathed or washed his clothes, would sit next to the campfire eating his beans and greasing mutton, wiping his hands upon his clothing, and then go off to retire with the sheep. In the morning, if I wanted to learn anything of the local flora or fauna, I merely had to look at Billy. His clothing was covered with minerals, dried leaves, needles, insect wings. The man was a walking natural history museum. Most of us, our clothes grow thinner with wear, but Billy's seemed to grow thicker. Well, anyway, and that's how we passed through Coulterville, driving these hoof locusts up into the Sierra foothills. We came through Coulterville, and it was there that the foothills were covered with a plant which we call chemise nowadays, a member of the rose family. I picked a blossom, put it in my buttonhole, And then we passed on up to the Sierra. And my friend John Burrow said, "Get a pulpit, Muir, get a pulpit. I better let someone else talk a wee bit now."
So that's how you got to Coulterville. But you went to Coulterville before you saw Yosemite for the first time?
Oh, yes, we had to take these sheep up there, Billy watched the sheep. I could go out and explore.
What was it like seeing Yosemite for the first time, John Muir?
I had no idea that it was paradise on earth, There I looked out upon that valley When I got to Yosemite Creek, I saw the waterfall make its entire descent to the valley below. So I took off my shoes and got into the creek to make my way towards the edge of the falls for a better view. As I approached the brink, I changed my mind. I scrambled out of the creek, and after putting a few bitter leaves in my mouth to prevent giddiness, Artemisia, I believe, I climbed down the face of the cliff, and there, heels on a 3-inch ledge, clinging by fingertips, celebrated the whole jubilee of water. I do not remember climbing up.
So this weekend in Coulterville, John Muir Days?
It's, we have the John Muir Geotourism Center in Coulterville. And this is the first and only geotourism center in the country. There's another one now being established. And we're celebrating John Muir, we're celebrating Yosemite, and we're celebrating the values of Yosemite and the region. And yes, Coulterville is the place. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the celebration?
Oh, you're doing such a good job yourself, lad. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, Billy's giving us a wrap-up sign, but this weekend...
I'll tell you what, why don't we take a quick commercial? We'll come back and revisit what's going to happen in Coulterville this weekend. We're going to take a quick commercial break.